Hello everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Sally's on board, quite literally, on a train with Billy's plan to travel to France for Aristotle Dumas' private party, but a recent chat with young and restless head writer Josh Griffith revealed it's going to be a bit of a bumpy ride for this twosome as they attempt to mix business with pleasure overseas. At first, Sally was appalled by Billy's suggestion that they postpone the launch of Abbott Communications in order to attend the Mystery Mogul's exclusive gathering in Nice, but it didn't take much to talk her around to the idea of packing up and heading off to the French Riviera, even though they were very much venturing into the unknown. Having done both her shopping, as well as the mental gymnastics required to justify putting off a launch they'd already teased to the business community, Sally's only remaining reluctance surrounded Billy's pesky obsessiveness over Chancellor popping up repeatedly like a game of Whack-A Victor. While Sally was able to extract a promise from her other half that they'd leave paradise post-haste if things got too weird or intense, Billy's vow to back off was half-hearted at best. He even suggested that rather than boating off into the sunset, they might, instead, sit back and enjoy the entertainment of watching the others, Victor, become ensnared in a web of Dumas weaving. Young and restless fans were shocked, and many downright dismayed, when Sally walked away from her dream job to hitch her wagon to Billy's new company. So, it should come as no surprise that the conflict ahead is spurned by a growing sense of impatience on her behalf as it becomes more and more obvious that Billy is, once again, chasing the old adrenaline rush of besting Victor as opposed to focusing on building something new and stable. Per Griffith, Sally and Billy will end up at a crossroads where she's forced to say, "Look, we had this new project, this new Abbott Communications going forward. You can't seem to let go of Chancellor. I'm not going to be dragged into your crap at the expense of my future." In Billy's mind, Dumas has dangled the idea of helping him get Chancellor back from Victor and righting the wrong he believes were done to him, and it's about to put his relationship in danger. Coming as a surprise to exactly no one, Billy will become increasingly focused on getting back what he feels was stolen from him. To the point where Sally becomes fed up and gives him something of an ultimatum: "You've got to offer me something if this is the road you're going to go down." We can only assume Billy will promise Sally the COO job at Chancellor once he's back in control. Sally believed in his vision for Abbott Communications, but ousting Victor and Nikki from Catherine's former corporation is downright pie in the sky. Surely, Sally understands by now that Victor never loses, and that Billy's hopes of Dumas championing his cause are a long shot. Will she allow herself and her future to be caught up in her boyfriend's latest gamble, or will she see the writing on the wall and simply walk away? It started with a seemingly innocent invitation. Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra had just started getting into a groove again. After the chaos of past relationships, business blow-ups, and trust issues that haunted them like specters, they were finally finding a rhythm. It wasn't perfect, but it was real enough that both were cautiously optimistic. Then came Aristotle Dumas. Genoa City's most enigmatic new arrival had already stirred his fair share of trouble, mostly in boardrooms and secret meeting rooms. But now, Dumas was casting a long and seductive shadow over the city's personal lives, and Billy and Sally were next in line. An invitation too good to refuse. The message arrived at Chancellor Winter's office late Monday afternoon. A gilded envelope, sealed with Dumas' signature wax emblem, a lion's head ringed with fire. Billy flipped it open with a smirk. "You and a guest are cordially invited to an exclusive salon hosted by Aristotle Dumas. An evening of innovation, imagination, and indulgence," Billy read aloud. Sally raised an eyebrow as she entered the office. "What is this, a party or a cult meeting?" "Bit of both, knowing Dumas," Billy replied, chuckling. "Want to come with me? Might be fun." Sally hesitated. Ever since Dumas' arrival, she'd felt something off about him. It wasn't fear exactly, it was more like a pressure, like being watched too closely under too bright a light. Still, curiosity won out. "Only if there's wine," she said, tossing her coat over the chair. There was more than wine waiting. A night of illusions. The event was hosted in Dumas' infamous lair, a converted mansion on the edge of town that he'd transformed into a labyrinth of rooms, each with its own theme. Art installations, live performances, intellectual debates, and curated conversations all swirled in a dazzling, sometimes overwhelming display of wealth and eccentricity. Billy was in his element. Charming, witty, bold, he mingled like a man born to navigate the strange waters of Dumas' world. Sally, on the other hand, was more reserved, watching from the sidelines, picking up the undercurrents. And then Dumas himself arrived. Tall, sculpted like a Roman statue, and wrapped in a velvet midnight blue blazer, Aristotle Dumas carried an energy that was both inviting and threatening. When he greeted Billy, it was with the familiarity of an old friend. But when he looked at Sally, the temperature in the room seemed to drop a few degrees. "Sally Spectra," he said, lifting her hand and brushing a kiss across her knuckles. "I've read your designs, seen your rise, and studied your stumbles. You're a fascinating contradiction." Sally stiffened. "You make me sound like a case study." "Oh, we're all case studies here," Dumas replied with a smile. "But some of us are worth publishing." The comment landed somewhere between a compliment and a threat. Seeds of doubt. Over the next few days, things began to shift. Billy was pulled further into Dumas' orbit, first professionally, then personally. Dumas wanted to launch a multimedia division and saw Billy as the ideal face of it. Meetings turned into late-night strategy sessions. Brainstorms turned into drinks at the Lair. And with each encounter, Dumas seemed to learn a little more about Billy's weaknesses. Meanwhile, Sally was approached separately. Dumas' creative division, still in concept stage, wanted her insight, her flair, her daring unpredictability, as he called it. But the meetings were strange. They never involved anyone else. Just her, in a room that always felt slightly too warm, filled with Dumas' collection of surreal art and an ever-present scent of sandalwood. Sally couldn't shake the feeling she was being manipulated, and worse, isolated. Billy noticed her discomfort, but misread it. "Come on, Sal, it's just business. Dumas is intense, sure, but he gets things done." "Yeah," she replied coolly. "But at what cost?" The wedge. It wasn't infidelity, not in the traditional sense. But Dumas didn't need to seduce Billy or Sally to get between them, he just needed to exploit the cracks that already existed. He started feeding each of them different narratives. To Billy, "She's afraid of success, you know. That's why she pulls away. If you let her keep you small, you'll resent her." To Sally, "Billy's drawn to power, not people. He likes you, but he needs validation more. When that fades, he'll be gone." And the worst part, neither could prove Dumas was saying any of it. It came in veiled suggestions, overheard whispers, casual remarks at just the right time. Their arguments started small, a missed dinner, a forgotten message. But soon, the tension was thick. "I feel like I'm losing you," Sally finally confessed one night. "You're not," Billy insisted. "But you're not trying to understand what I'm building either." "What you're building," she echoed. "Funny, because I thought we were building something together." The silence that followed was deafening. Dumas, endgame. Aristotle Dumas didn't want Billy or Sally, not romantically, anyway. What he wanted was control, influence, power through psychological dominance. By destabilizing Billy and Sally's relationship, he was running a social experiment. How far could he push people before they broke? How much of someone's identity could be unstitched with just words? But Dumas miscalculated something. Sally had been through worse. Betrayals, breakups, public shame, failed companies, she'd survived every blow. And she recognized manipulation when she saw it. So she turned the tables. At their next meeting, Sally played along. Flattered Dumas, let him believe she was falling for his spell. And then, she recorded him. The subtle threats, the ego plays, the way he described Billy as a narrative waiting to be rewritten. She sent the clip to Billy. It wasn't easy for him to watch, or accept. But when he did, it hit like a freight train. "I thought he respected me," Billy said quietly. "I thought we were allies." "No," Sally replied. "You were just another story he wanted to rewrite." The reckoning, confronting Dumas, didn't happen in private. Billy and Sally showed up together at his next gathering, cool, collected, and united. "You wanted a spectacle," Billy said in front of a room full of Genoa City's elite. "Let's give them one." They played the audio, just enough to reveal Dumas' twisted strategies. Enough to show his manipulation, without stooping to personal revenge. The fallout was swift. Dumas laughed it off at first, but the damage was done. People began pulling away. Investors grew cautious. Partners started whispering. He wasn't ruined, but he was rattled. And Billy and Sally, they left the mansion hand in hand, a little bruised but bonded in a way they hadn't been before. "Next time I say something feels off," Sally said, looking at him sideways, "you'll listen." Billy squeezed her hand. "You won't even have to say it. I'll see it too." Epilogue. The game never ends. Dumas hasn't left Genoa City. He's lying low, watching, recalibrating. But Billy and Sally are watching too, and this time, they're a team. And if Dumas thought he could rewrite their story, well, he picked the wrong authors. Thanks for watching this video and please subscribe our Update World 24 YouTube channel for more update news.